Little CCR for your Monday, or pardon me, Friday afternoon, early Friday afternoon. Good morning, Vaqueros. This is DJ Doc V here with you. You're listening to Office Hours. And thanks for tuning in. Friday, February 28th, it's 12:02 in the afternoon. And we're coming to you live from our beautiful Edinburgh studio. It's 76 degrees in the upper Rio Grande Valley. And we're expecting a high today in the 80s. We're looking at a high of, 81, with mostly cloudy, a little bit of sun poking through there in a little bit. And then tomorrow, 86, Sunday, 85. We're back to back to normal as far as we know. We don't have any more cold fronts coming in there. Boy, the weather's been wild the last month or so, or last couple months, we should say, being cold and such. But thanks for tuning in. We've got some great music picked out for you, and a slight departure from our poetry moment. I have a separate poem. It's not coming from UTRGV Gallery or Pulse Magazine, but this one certainly apropos. And anyone who's ever taught a class will love this poem. It's titled, "Did I Miss Anything?" Have you ever asked one of your instructors when you're absent from a class, "Hey, did I miss anything?" Of course you missed something if you weren't there. But this poem kind of riffs on that, so that's kind of funny. Got a double shot of Nirvana coming up toward the bottom of the hour, and then, as we always do, This Day in History down at the bottom of the hour, and we'll do a little bit of update on some events going on, so stay tuned. We'll get back to the music with a little Talking Heads and Burning Down the House, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. From the 1986 album Life's Rich Pageant, that one is REM with Cuyahoga, referring to the Cuyahoga River in Ohio. That, I talk about this in my classes, in my intro classes, that pollution was so bad that the Cuyahoga River, and I just found this out doing a little bit of research for this piece, that it had caught fire multiple times, most famously in 1969. And it was essentially used as one of the driving elements to bring about the introduction of an environmental protection agency, which some would argue right now is unfortunately under fire. But there's a great piece in Smithsonian Magazine here titled, "The Cuyahoga River Caught Fire at least a dozen times, but no one cared until 1969. I mean, what the heck? The water, and this is from the article, the water was nearly always covered in oil slicks and it bubbled like a deadly stew. Sometimes rats floated by, their corpses so bloated they were practically the size of dogs. It was disturbing, but it was also just one of the realities of the city." That's Cleveland. For more than a century, the Cuyahoga River had been prime real estate for various manufacturing companies. Everyone knew it was polluted, but pollution meant industry was thriving. The economy was booming, and everyone had jobs. Well, yeah, jobs are great unless you can't live. And your river catches fire. So Cuyahoga there from REM from the 1986 record. Before that, you heard Sonic Youth with Teenage Riot. We started off that set with Talking Heads, Burning Down the House. Just as a reminder, for those of you on campus, there's, our theater department's putting on Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. The shows are next week, March 7th through the 9th. 7th at 7:30, 7th and 8th at 7:30 p.m., March 9th, Sunday matinee at 2 p.m. So get a chance to go see some classic literature, Shakespeare, here at UTRGV. Always a good time. Make sure that you get your tickets for that and check it out. That's great. Also, this is exciting news. There are free tickets available for the football spring game and open practice. The Department of Intercollegiate Athletics announced on Tuesday that free digital tickets are now available for the football's inaugural spring game on April 17th at 6 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Brownsville, and the open practice on March 29th at 10 a.m. at PSJA Stadium in Farr at utrgvtickets.com. There's also a free football youth clinic for kids taking place immediately following the open practice on March 29th. So sign up for that stuff. Everyone's getting really excited about football this fall. In fact, I've got several football student athletes in my classes this spring. So it's going to be really exciting. And also, just a shout out for Monday, if you want to tune in on Monday, Vaquero Radio will be doing some play-by-play at the men's basketball game at the Field House. So tune in and hear our sports reporter Leo give us play-by-play of the men's basketball game on Monday. So that will be, let's see, who are we playing on Monday? Basketball. Let's see, we're playing on Monday. What is Monday? Is March 1st? No. What is it? March 3rd. Oh, Southeastern is in town from Louisiana. Southeastern. It'll be here at the Field House at 6:30 p.m. Remember, UTRGV students get in free with your student ID. You can check out UTRGV Athletics men's basketball versus Southeastern this Monday, 6:30 p.m. And our own Leonardo Guajardo is going to be doing the play-by-play for that. So make sure you tune in. Let's get back to the music here real quick. And then we've got This Day in History coming up soon. Right after this double shot of Nirvana, here's Unplugged in New York. This song is called Something in the Way. Only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. And as we do every week on office hours, we've got This Day in History. Let's see. It's February 28th. On this day in 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms launched a raid against the Branch Davidian compound as part of an investigation into illegal possession of firearms and explosives by the Christian cult. This was in Waco, Texas. As the agents attempted to penetrate the complex, gunfire erupted, beginning an extended gun battle that left 4 ATF agents dead and 15 wounded. 6 Branch Davidians were fatally wounded and several more injured, including David Koresh, the cult's founder and leader. After 45 minutes of shooting, the ATF agents withdrew, and a ceasefire was negotiated over the telephone. The operation, which involved more than 100 ATF agents, was one of the largest ever mounted by the Bureau and resulted in the highest casualties of any ATF operation. David Koresh was born Vernon Wayne Howell in Houston, Texas in 1959. In 1981, he joined the Branch Davidians, a sect of the Seventh-day Adventist Church founded in 1934 by a Bulgarian immigrant named Victor Hutef. Koresh, who possessed an exhaustive knowledge of the Bible, rapidly rose in the hierarchy of the small religious community, eventually entering into a power struggle with the Davidians' leader, George Roden. For a short time, Koresh retreated with his followers to eastern Texas, but in late 1987, he returned to Mount Carmel with 7 armed followers and raided the compound, severely wounding Roden. Koresh went on trial for attempted murder, but the charge was dropped after his case was declared a mistrial. By 1990, he was the leader of the Branch Davidians and legally changed his name to David Koresh, with David representing his status as head of the biblical House of David, and Koresh standing for the Hebrew name for Cyrus, the Persian king who allowed the Jews held captive in Babylon to return to Israel. Koresh took several wives at Mount Carmel and fathered at least 12 children from these women, several of whom were as young as 12 or 13 when they became pregnant. There is also evidence that Koresh may have harshly disciplined some of the 100 or so Branch Davidians living inside the compound, particularly his children. A central aspect of Koresh's religious teachings was his assertion that the apocalyptic events predicted in the Bible's book of Revelation were imminent, making it necessary, he asserted, for the Davidians to stockpile weapons and explosives in preparation. It was certainly ended a tragedy on after the federal government's second disastrous assault on Mount Carmel. The FBI and the Justice Department maintained that there was conclusive evidence that the Branch Davidian members ignited the fire. There was a fire that started in the compound, and most of the folks were dead. Koresh, 80 of his followers, including 22 children, died during that event. That was this day in 1993. Waco still, I'm sure, feeling the repercussions from that horror in 1993. Also on this day, in 1953, the chemical structure of DNA is discovered. And in 1878, silver dollars were made legal. In 1987, Gorbachev from the Soviet Union calls for a nuclear weapons treaty. And finally, on this day in 1861, Congress creates the Colorado Territory, with the region's white population booming because of the Pikes Peak gold rush. Congress creates this new territory of Colorado, and the United States had acquired it after the Mexican-American War ended in 1848. The land that would one day become Colorado was nearly unpopulated by Anglo settlers. But Ute, Arapaho, and Cheyenne and other Native Americans had occupied the land for centuries. That was on this day in 1861. Right now, here in the beautiful upper Rio Grande Valley, it is 77 degrees. We're expecting a high today of 81. Tomorrow, a high of 86 with mostly sunny skies, and a great weekend for baseball. I believe the Ballers are in town playing some games this afternoon and tomorrow as well as Sunday. So make sure you get out and check, the men's baseball, which if you haven't been to our stadium, it really is a great venue to see a game. Today they're playing Lamar, and there's a T-shirt giveaway. So make sure you get down there and see. Remember, students get in free with your student ID. So make sure that you're heading out to support our student athletes both today, tomorrow, and Sunday games. The Sunday game at 12 p.m. So make sure you get out there to our beautiful baseball stadium. Let's get back to the music. We just got another 20 minutes or so. Here's some of the Fugees. So a little shift in our music here with Killing Me Softly, only on Vaquero Radio. That's Heavy D and the Boys featuring Pete Rock. And at the time, I guess we could say, and relatively unknown, Q-Tip had a segment in there in that rap. That was great. Heavy D and the Boys with Don't Curse. Before that, you heard Gil Scott-Heron. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And we started off that set with the Fugees, Killing Me Softly with his song. Love that version. Good morning, Vaqueros. DJ Doc V with you here. 78 degrees in the upper Rio Grande Valley. Mostly cloudy skies. We're expecting a high of 81 today. So prepare for that. And as we do every week on office hours, I've got a poem picked out for you. This one is a little different. It's not coming from UTRGV media, student media. It's not Pulse Magazine or Gallery. This one is actually from the Library of Congress. And it's a poem by Tom Wayman, who is the author of 17 poetry collections, including High Speed Through Shoaling Water, which is Harper Publishing, 2007. This is a poem titled, Did I Miss Anything? Nothing. When we realized you weren't here, we sat with our hands folded on our desks in silence for the 2 full hours. Everything. I gave an exam worth 40% of the grade for this term and assigned some reading due today, on which I'm about to hand out a quiz worth 50%. Nothing. None of the content of this course has value or meaning. Take as many days off as you like. Any activities we undertake in a class, I assure you, will not matter either to you or me and are without purpose. Everything. A few minutes after we began last time, a shaft of light suddenly descended and an angel or other heavenly being appeared and revealed to us what each woman or man must do to attain divine wisdom in this life and the hereafter. This is the last time the class will meet before we disperse to bring the good news to all people on earth. Nothing. When you are not present, how could something significant even occur? Everything. Contained in this classroom is a microcosm of human experience, assembled for you to query and examine and ponder. This is not the only place such an opportunity has been gathered, but it was one place, and you weren't here. That's a poem titled, Did I Miss Anything? A line that I can't tell you if I had a nickel. If I had a nickel for every email, every student that asked this of me when they were absent from, did I miss anything? And I go, can you tell me what? No, this is college. You got to figure it out. So, did you miss? No, I mean, why would you miss anything? 75 minutes. We don't really talk. And so, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's a question I have to answer every single semester. Did I miss anything when I was absent? Yes, you did. Can you tell me what? No, look at the syllabus. Anyway, that's office hours for this week. We'll leave you with one kind of a fun one. This one from War called Lowrider.